Do you guys like my cupcake pillow? I'm kind of obsessed with it. I just got it. Anyways, welcome back to my channel, guys. If you are new, thank you for coming. And if you're looking for more dessert content, please feel free to check out any of my other videos. But today we're doing a Q&A video from my wedding cake video. It's been a little while, my apologies. I asked you guys if you wanted to see this a long time ago, and then I just didn't think anyone would want to see it, so I kind of forgot about it, not gonna lie. But anyways, I am doing it now. So today I'm answering you guys' questions from my wedding cake video. If you haven't seen that, you might want to go watch that first and then come back. I'll put it somewhere, description on the screen. You'll find it. But let's get to these questions. So the first question is from Sonia Munoz. And this is a very common question I get on and off YouTube. And the question is, did I go to school to be a cake decorator, or basically do I have any formal training? I don't have any formal cake or pastry training at all. I literally learned everything from YouTube, honestly, and from watching the Food Network. I started watching the Food Network at like 5 years old. Instead of cartoons, I watched like Anna Olsen and also Cake Boss, which is not Food Network, I don't think. And who's that other guy? Duff Goldman. He was from Ace of Cakes. I used to watch that as well. Those are kind of like the dessert people that I watched. I also loved like Giada and Rachel Ray. And yeah, that's what I watched as a child. So anyways, no formal training. Next question is, how do I choose when to use royal icing over buttercream? And this question is from Angela Kemper. That's a really good question. Royal icing is more for piping and decorating. It doesn't taste very good, so I wouldn't use it to fill a cake or cover a cake. But it gives a really nice finish, and also it dries hard, so it won't smudge if you're doing intricate piping. Once it's dry, you don't have to worry about it, so it's super helpful for that. And also I use it when I'm stacking cakes. I put it in between the layers, or when I'm putting flowers on. It kind of helps keep everything in place. So love royal icing, but doesn't taste very good. The next question is from Waynette Pizarro, asking, do I put boards in between each layer when I put the cake together, and what are the straws in the cake? Okay, really good question. I got a couple of questions on the straws. For the boards, yes, I do leave them in. I like to leave them in because it adds a lot of support. I think most bakers, cake decorators, wow, I don't even know what to call them. I think most bakers will leave boards in between their cakes. And then the straws I use bubble tea straws instead of dowels. For me, they work the same. Some people don't trust them. Do what you're comfortable with. I just find them a lot easier to cut to size. And because I'm not making like super massive cakes, they work great for me. So yeah, basically I leave the straws in the cake for stability, and then I do leave the boards in as well. You can see in my video that I like ice and fondant with the board still underneath, and I do leave those cake boards in so that the board, it goes like board and then the straws in the cake, and then the board sits on top for the next cake, so that the cakes aren't just sitting on top of each other and they don't like weigh each other down. If you leave the boards and the straws in, it gives it so much more stability. I think that made sense. I'm not sure if that made sense. If it didn't, I'm sorry. I think it did. Next question is from Kim Smith. What is the clear liquid used to attach fondant to the fondant cake? Great question. A couple of you asked this, and a couple of you guys actually answered this comment saying that I use water. I actually don't use water. A lot of people use water, but here's a little tip from Marisa. I don't know where I picked this up. I don't think I made it up. I'm not going to take credit for it. But I know a lot of people use water. I'm a bit paranoid, and to me it just doesn't feel like enough. I actually dissolve a little bit of gum paste into water and then use that as kind of like a glue to stick fondant to fondant, or like a ribbon to fondant, or anything like that. It works really well. To me, water just doesn't feel sticky enough, but if it works for you, that's amazing. Next question is from Bianca Smith. What is my tip for keeping cake from drying out? A lot of you replied to this comment, a lot of you, like 2 of you, saying that you can use a simple syrup, and absolutely you can. I actually don't. I find that it makes the cake too sweet. The only time that I will use a simple syrup is if I'm trying to infuse a flavor, or if it's like a sponge cake, like if I want to do like an espresso sponge, that's really good to put an espresso simple syrup, because like the coffee also kind of counterbalances the sugar. So that works, but in general, I use a really moist cake recipe, and that seems to be enough for me. I always use fresh cakes. I never use frozen cakes, so that might help as well. But it totally depends on your preference. You can use a simple syrup. But yeah, my tip is just to use a really moist cake recipe. Also, side note, why does everyone hate the word moist? Like, I mean, I kind of get it. Moist, like, it's not the nicest word. And like, please don't hate me for saying it over and over again. I'll stop saying it, I promise. But like, as a baker, it's really like good to have like a moist cake or like a moist dessert. It's a good thing. Why stop hating on the word moist? Okay, I promise I'm done saying it now. Anyways, that was just my little side rant. Next question. Selena Thompson wants to know, what is the mold I use for the flowers? It's actually just a mini cupcake tin. I like to set my gum paste flowers into a mini cupcake tin, or I even just use foil sometimes that I shape into like a little cup to help it like make a nice flower shape, if that makes sense, when it dries. Yeah, it's super easy. Mini cupcake tin works great. I don't really like to buy a lot of extra tools that like only have one use, unless I'm gonna use it like all of the time, because I don't have a lot of room in my kitchen. So yeah, that's what I use. Next question is, okay, there's a few questions about like storing the cake and if you can set it up ahead of time. So the answer to that is I store my cake in the fridge and I don't stack it ahead of time. So someone was asking if they can stack it the night before and then cover it. No. I mean, maybe, but I personally would say no for like many reasons. One, to answer your other guys' questions, I always keep my cake in the fridge. I like to keep it in the fridge just because it keeps it more stable, and also like buttercream has butter in it, and I personally like to keep that refrigerated as much as possible. And also in the summer and stuff, like if you leave the cake out, it just becomes way too soft, and then stacking is a nightmare, moving it is a nightmare. I just don't like to do it. So that's one thing. If you stack your cake ahead of time, you're gonna need a lot of room in the fridge. And also, honestly, I feel like once you stack it, it's just so risky to be moving it and stuff. So I personally wouldn't stack it ahead of time. I always stack on site at the venue, and I keep it in the fridge until then. That's just how I like to do things, and that's what I recommend. The last thing you want to do is to put all your time and effort into making this gorgeous cake and then have it like fall apart. That would hurt. That would break my heart. So I would not recommend doing that. The next question is, can you use buttercream instead of fondant on a cake? Absolutely. Fondant actually doesn't taste very good. It's literally like a sugar paste. Like it tastes like Play-Doh made of sugar. Not that I know what Play-Doh tastes like, but you know what I mean. You totally don't have to use it. For wedding cakes, people like to. I also like to, just because it gives a really smooth, clean finish. But my last video was actually a cupcake tower with a little cake on top for a wedding, and it was a buttercream finish. So I'll link that down below if you want to see what that looks like. It's still really pretty. It's just a completely different look, and you also have to be a little bit more careful when you're transporting and leaving it out, because fondant kind of gives it some stability, because it doesn't melt and the buttercream does, so just keep that in mind. But it still looks pretty and tastes so much better. Like, I hate the taste of fondant. Yeah, just no, I don't like fondant. And the last question is from Joe, which is, what is my Instagram name? My Instagram name thank you for asking JoJo, is at Desserts by Arisa, and my Instagram is super new. I just started it like last week. And so I'm super excited about it, but I'm also kind of nervous because, like, I don't know, Instagram makes me nervous because I want it to be like perfect. So please go follow me on there. I will be posting some dessert related content as much as I can, and I would absolutely love if you guys follow me and support me on there so that I know that you guys like it. Yeah, anyways, that is the last question I'm going to be answering today. If you like this type of video, please let me know, and if you have more questions, let me know in the comments, leave them in my videos, DM me on Instagram or Twitter, because I really love filming this kind of video for you guys. It's something different where I can like sit down and chill and talk to you guys instead of like running around the kitchen like an idiot. Which I love as well, but it's just a completely different type of video, so it's fun to do this. If you have any questions about baking or about me, if you want to get to know me more, feel free to ask and I will answer them very shortly for you. So please subscribe to my channel if you are not already. Follow me on Instagram, like I said, and Twitter and all that good stuff. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.